This is lesson 1-7, midpoint and distance in the coordinate plane. In this lesson, you're going to learn how to find the midpoint on a number line, and you're also going to find the midpoint in the coordinate plane. You'll also learn how to find the distance in the coordinate plane, but that is going to be day 2 of this lesson. So today we're just going to focus on midpoint. All right, in lesson 1-3, we talked about midpoint. A midpoint is the point that divides a segment into two congruent segments. And remember, congruent means equal. So let's say we have this segment and it has endpoints A and B. Okay, the midpoint is going to be exactly halfway. So if you kind of eyeball it there, I'm going to call it M for midpoint. And so that means that segment AM is congruent. Remember, this is the symbol for congruent. Segment MB. And that just means that they're equal, their distances are equal. And remember, in a drawing, what we do is we put little tick marks on here to show that AM is congruent to MB. So if we want to find the midpoint on a number line, let's say we have segment AB here, and we have the endpoint of A, the coordinate for A is -4. The coordinate for point B is 9. And so the midpoint is going to be halfway in between. Well, how do we find halfway in between two numbers? We have to find the average of those two numbers. So what we're going to do here is we're going to take and we're going to add together 9 plus -4 and divide by 2. Well, 9 plus -4 is the same as 9 minus 4, so that is 5 over 2. Now, if you want to, if it comes out even, you can make it a mixed number, 2.5. You could call it 2.5, but I always just leave it a mixed number or an improper fraction reduced to lowest terms. All right, so here's an example. See if you can find the midpoint of JK if one endpoint is -12 and the other one is +4. Oh, I don't know why it keeps jumping back like that. I apologize. Okay, so if you want to draw a picture, you can, but you don't have to. You've got a number line. -12 would be here. 0 could be here somewhere. 4 could be here. And we have this segment. J is at one end, K is at the other. You don't have to draw a picture because all you have to do is find the average of the two numbers. -12 plus 4 and divide by 2. Well, what's -12 plus 4? -8 divided by 2, so that is -4. So -4 is going to be the midpoint of that segment. So M is going to be -4. All right, now what if we're in a coordinate plane? So if you're in a coordinate plane, your segment might go diagonal. And so you need to figure out where that midpoint is going to be. And in a coordinate plane, your endpoints are going to be ordered pairs. So E here is the ordered pair 7, 5. F is the ordered pair 2, -4. And your answer for the midpoint is also going to be an ordered pair. So you do the same thing that you do for the number lines. It's just that you're going to find the average twice. You have to find the average of the x values, find the average of the y values. So remember, in an ordered pair, if I can find a different color here, that the first number is always an x value, the second number is a y value. So down here in F, we have an x and we have a y. So anytime we have in a problem more than one x value or more than one y value, we give them subscripts. We could call this x1, y1. We could call this down here x2, y2. All right, so to find the answer, the midpoint of that segment, I'm going to find the average of the x values. So my x1 was 7. My x2 is 2. 7 plus 2 divided by 2. 7 plus 2 is 9, divided by 2. Again, you could divide that out and get 4.5 or 4.5, but I'm just going to leave it as 9 halves. It can't reduce anymore. For your y values, your y1 is 5, your y2 is -4, and you have to divide that by 2. 5 plus -4 is 1, so you get 1/2. So you have two answers there. That's not really two answers, it's just your x-coordinate and your y-coordinate of an ordered pair. So you write your answer as an ordered pair. 9 halves, comma 1/2, and you put it in parentheses. So 9 halves is 4.5. So if I go over here, 1, 2, 3, 4.5, 4.5 and go up 1/2, that means right there is my midpoint. Looks right, doesn't it? That means this segment and that segment are equal. All right. So we actually have a formula for that. When you're finding the midpoint is the x values added together divided by 2, the y values added together divided by 2. You try doing this next example, example 2, on your own. Pause the video, see if you can do it, and then come back and watch. All right, if I want to find the midpoint of RS, I have to find the average of the x's and the average of the y's. So if I use my midpoint formula up here, remember this is going to be your x1, y1, x2, y2. So your answer is going to be an ordered pair. So I am going to do 5 plus 3 divided by 2. The y value of my ordered pair is going to be -10 plus 6 divided by 2. So now I'm just going to simplify each of those. 5 plus 3 is 8, comma, because it's an ordered pair, -10 plus 6 is -4. But now I need to reduce those fractions. 8 divided by 2 is 4. -4 divided by 2 is -2. And that is my answer. That's my midpoint for that segment. All right, this last example is a little bit different, so let's take a look at it. It says the midpoint of CD is M, -2, 1. So notice this time they're giving you the midpoint of a segment. One of the endpoints is C, -5, 7, and we want to find the other endpoint. So if we take a look on the coordinate plane and see what this looks like. Okay, M is -2, 1. -2, 1 would be right here. This is M. Okay, C is -5, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So C is up here somewhere. So now remember, this is the midpoint of a segment. So that means my segment, let's see if I can get the line tool here. It'd be easier to draw with a line. Okay, if I start here at C, my segment is going to go down here through M, and somewhere down here in the fourth quadrant, I have another endpoint D. And that is what I am trying to find out what it is. I want to know what are the coordinates of that endpoint. X, Y, question mark. That's what I want to know. So, if we go back to our formula, the formula is add your x's together and divide by 2, add your y's together and divide by 2. So if I'm finding the midpoint, this would be my x1, y1. That's one of my endpoints. My other endpoint is down here, D, x and y. I can call it x2, y2 if I want. So -5 plus whatever my coordinate for D is, divided by 2, is going to be the x-coordinate of the midpoint. I'm going to put a comma here. Now for my y values, my y1, 7, plus my y2, which I don't know because it's down here with D, divided by 2, has to give me the coordinate 1. So what I'm going to do here is write two separate equations. This part right here, -5 plus x2 divided by 2 has to equal -2. Where'd that -2 come from? It was my x-coordinate of my midpoint. To solve this equation, I need to multiply both sides by 2 to get rid of this fraction. These 2's cancel. I have -5 plus x2 equals -4. Now I can add 5 to both sides. So my x2 value has to equal 1. That means my x-coordinate for D over here is 1. Now what about my y's? Well, this little equation right here, 7 plus y2 over 2, has to equal the y-coordinate of my midpoint. Multiply both sides by 2 to get rid of that fraction. So 7 plus y2 has to equal 2. Subtract 7 from both sides, and you get that y2 must equal -5. So this coordinate over here is the ordered pair 1, -5. Now, let's see if that makes sense. If I look at this, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah, I did a good job eyeballing that. Now, let me let you in on a little secret. If you have a problem like this, you can always just count. If you go from C to the midpoint, you have to go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 squares and write 1, 2, 3 squares. So the other endpoint is going to be that same distance away. So go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and write 1, 2, 3. So if you have some graph paper, you could just graph this and count the squares and know that your other endpoint is going to be the ordered pair 1, -5. All right, we're going to stop there. You've got an assignment over midpoint, and next week we will do distance.